I am in the most desperate moment of my life. I'm shaking with every ounce of blood in my body. I can't even bring myself to cry. I look up fearfully with a stiff face. In front of me are the divorce papers, and my husband with a worried smile on his face, insulting me and my parents. I knew I deserved a woman who was highly educated and classy. At least not a woman who inherited her parents' genes from a middle school graduate. You are useless. You are nothing but a piece of trash to me. You are a high school graduate with no job, a middle school graduate father who works for a company I've never heard of, and an unemployed mother with no job. I'm not going to support this family with my hard-earned money. My husband's attitude changed as soon as we got married. He only thinks of me as an outlet for his stress. But I still believed in him. Taking care of the house was the only thing I could do for him. But one word from me led to the end of our relationship. It must have been humiliating for him to be confronted by me, a high school graduate, no matter what. How did this happen? All I wanted was to make a happy family. In spite of my apologies, I knew that the husband I loved was gone. Anger, sadness, hopelessness. I was still in tears, unable to sort out my feelings. At that time, I knew nothing. I didn't know what would happen to my pathetic husband, who could only judge people by their educational background. My name is Kara. My dream has always been to be a mother. From my early age, I looked up to my own mother. I wanted to get married as soon as possible, have children, and become the ideal mother. In the morning, I would wake up my husband and children, who slept late. I would prepare a delicious breakfast for them and make sure they had plenty to eat. I soak up the happiness of watching them and see them off with a smile. I would clean the house, prepare snacks for the kids, and think about what to have for dinner. When my husband comes home, we all take a bath and eat dinner together, kissing the kids goodnight and going to sleep every night so they don't get anxious. This is the kind of life I dreamed of. I talked about this with all the boyfriends I've ever had, if I got married in the future. They all said it was too much for them and dumped me. That's understandable. I guess they thought I was naive, that they couldn't be that responsible. But I never gave up on my dream. I kept being honest with them. Then I met Evan at a party I was invited to by chance.
Kara, I think your dream is awesome. I'm the type of guy who wants my wife to focus on housework when I get married. I will be too happy if I had a lovely wife like you, Kara, waiting for me at home with kids.
I felt I was destined to be with this man who smiled at me like that. Soon, we started dating. I found him to be very fun and reliable. That there were some things that made him seem a little obsessive. One time when I served him a meal at my house,
maybe a little too much carbs. I like to eat more protein, you know? Put that in mind next time, okay?
And one day when we were out taking a walk together, a kid bumps into him and the kid apologized.
Hey, did you play in the sandbox? Damn, I got a little dirty. Don't worry, kid. I'm not gonna ask you to bring your parents over. But some adults can be really scary, you know? You better watch out. Got it?
I felt my husband was a bit mean in the way he said it, but I believed he was a nice, kind, and reliable guy. I decided to marry him after 6 months of knowing him. My father had a somewhat unconvinced look on his face. My mother agreed, saying if it would make me happy. My husband's parents accepted me as well. We got married and became a couple. I quit my job and spent every day doing housework. Every day, I was living my dream. I accepted all his criticism of my cooking and housework as great advice for a happy marriage. However, I began to think in a corner of my mind that maybe love is blind, or maybe it was a little too soon to marry him.
Kara, I'm home. I'm exhausted. My business partner complained to me again. It's really pissing me off. When I complained about it, my junior colleague said it was my fault too. What a jerk.
I see. It must have been tough. Thank you for working every day. Please tell me whatever you want. I'm a good listener, you know.
What? No, you don't know anything about having a job, do you? It's not like you've been in a business much. Oh, my bad. You have been in the business longer than me. You started working after graduating from high school. Sorry.
There he goes again. Ever since we got married, my husband has always made fun of me for having a high school diploma. My parents had prepared for my college education, but I wanted to return my favor to my parents by working hard and becoming an independent member of society. My husband graduated from a well-known university with high standards. He has been bragging about his high education ever since we started dating. He was also very proud of the big company he was working for. Working for a prestigious company is something you can't do without hard work. So I respected him for that. That's why I married him. And when we were dating, he didn't disrespect me that much. My husband must be under a lot of stress.
Well, since you are a stay-at-home wife, I'll teach you what it's like working in a huge company.
With that, my husband blurted out his complaints. In short, he said that his subordinates and the people in charge of his clients pointed out the mistake he made, and he didn't like the fact that they were all younger than him.
They've got a lot of nerve taking shots at me.
My husband's only been with the company for 3 years, so he's not that much older than them. That's what I thought as I listened.
Hey, are you listening to me? I'm trying to talk to you even though I'm tired. Can't you even make conversation pleasant?
I'm listening. I'm sorry. But they are almost the same age as you, aren't they? I just thought you could improve each other's as a team, you know?
What? Why are you giving me an opinion? Why are you talking over me like I'm not good enough?
That's not what I meant.
You should be thankful that I married you, even though you only graduated from high school. Don't you know how to respect your husband?
I regretted that I said anything to him. Whenever I say something he doesn't like, he verbally attacks me. As you can imagine, I'm getting a little tired of it. My father's face suddenly flashed through my mind. My husband grimaced and said something even more unforgivable.
Well, a middle school graduate like your father can only produce such a foolish daughter. A middle school graduate can only work at a local small business. Your dad's pathetic. Isn't he about to retire, isn't he? Do small businesses offer retirement benefits? I can't see myself living a life of normal people with just a little money. Well, don't worry. Mine is a big company. I'm getting a big retirement bonus.
Enough! You can make fun of me all you want, but please don't make fun of my father. I know you are under a lot of stress, but don't make it on me. I never get angry no matter what he says to me. But when he said that about my father, I lost my temper. I couldn't allow him to insult my father, who had worked so hard for the family. I said what I wanted to say and ran out of the house with my cell phone. The word divorce crossed my mind. But the crisp winter air cleared my anger-driven mind a little. I wanted to hear my voice father. I wanted to hear my father's voice. So I tried to call him, but I was afraid that I might worry him. I walked around in a daze, worrying. I found myself a long way from home. I will apologize to my husband when I get home. We've only been married for a few months. The fight we had today is just a blimp in what will be a long future. Something much worse could happen. I can't marry anyone if I'm thinking about getting divorced over something like this. When I arrived home, my husband was already asleep. Tomorrow is his day off, and I will make him all the meals he likes, and I would apologize. With that thought, I also went to sleep. In the morning, my husband woke up and left with a grumpy look on his face. He didn't mention what had happened yesterday, but I guess he was still feeling awkward. As I was making lunch, thinking about how I should apologize again, he came home. "Hi, honey. I'm sorry. I was so rude to you yesterday. I'll make you a lot of your favorite dishes today, so feel free to request anything."
Whatever. Sit down. We need to talk. Then he quickly put a piece of paper in front of me.
"What? Isn't this?"
Yeah. You recognize it. It's a divorce petition. Yesterday, it became clear to me that you and I don't match.
I felt a chill, as if all the blood in my body had drained out of me. Had I been so hard on my husband that he wanted a divorce? I couldn't say anything, so I kept silent, and he opened his mouth.
I've been thinking about it, since you left yesterday. I knew that a high school graduate wife with a middle school graduate parents who works for a small business was no match for me. I married you because you were kind of cute, and I thought you would be at my beck and call. But I didn't realize you were such a useless one. I tried to talk, but I couldn't speak. I should have gotten down on my knees and asked him to forgive me. I shouldn't have said anything back. As if to push me away, my husband continued. Well, I'm sure there are more intelligent and refined women out there who are more suitable for me. Don't worry about me. I'll remarry soon. You will have a hard time now that I'm no longer your breadwinner. You are a high school graduate with no job, with a middle school graduate father, and an unemployed mother. I don't want to have to support a bottom-feeding family like this with the money I earn.
My husband smirked and fluttered the divorce papers in front of me.
You should look up divorce procedures on the internet. You could at least do that, right? Oh, I'll give you the house. It's in your name anyway. Bye.
With that, he left with his belongings, which were probably already packed. My head is all messed up. I don't know what to do anymore. All I wanted was to get married, have children, and live happily ever after. I just wanted my father to see his grandchildren. I don't know how I got into this mess. I looked at the untouched meal I had prepared for my husband and cried out loud. I felt so hopeless. If I could go back to yesterday's fight, I would. I should have smiled and listened to him like I always do. I clutched the divorce papers and cried for a long time. After all, my husband didn't come home. After a few days, when I felt a little better, I started to look into divorce proceedings. I went back to my parents' house for the time being. While I was in a daze, I received a call on my cell phone.
Oh, Kara? Can I meet your father? I'd like to talk to him. I didn't know that the company he works for was so famous.
I knew it. He called. I was just thinking over the past few days that my ex-husband must be in a lot of trouble right now. The company my father works for is a long-established local publicity traded company that's pretty well known in the area. It just so happened that my father and a friend from work were talking about my divorce. I had mentioned my ex-husband's behavior towards me as a topic of conversation. Sure enough, my father's friend who were close to us were offended. They even contacted me out of concern. The rumor kept spreading, and to my surprise, they reached the company where my ex-husband worked. It was affecting my ex-husband's position at the company. I heard that he was trying to make me the bad guy about this divorce. But when the board members heard the rumors and confronted him, he relented and told them the truth. My ex-husband was even considered for disciplinary action by the company. I was sure he would come crying to me. But I didn't care about my ex-husband anymore. I was more impressed by my father's ability to build relationships with integrity. I had a newfound respect for him. My father was the one who was most surprised, actually.
So, I am in trouble. You understand it, right? Your husband, the man you love so much, is in trouble. If your father would just talk to me, this will all be over. And then we'll be together again. And if you want, you can bring your father to live with us, you know? We'll make it as good as it was, if not better. You want me with you, don't you? No one's gonna take you, a high school graduate, and an employed woman like you, anyway.
What? What are you talking about?
First of all, we are divorced. We're already strangers.
Wouldn't it be great if you lose your job, you don't have to make any mistakes, and people won't point them out? You're not gonna be under any stress. Good for you. And I have a job, you know. I'm making a good living, thank you very much. I don't have to care about your stupid idea of educational backgrounds. And I don't have to be made fun of anymore. I am very content every day. I mean, why don't you rely on the person you're cheating on me with? I'm not the one you should rely on, am I?
What are you talking about?
My ex-husband got flustered and clumped up. The day my ex-husband confronted me for the divorce paper and left me, after I had cried a lot, it occurred to me. He left me so easy. It was a woman's intuition or some kind of a gut feeling. I wondered if there was a possibility that he was cheating on me. I immediately hired a private detective. Soon after, they found a lot of evidence, and I decided to divorce him. I prepared everything I could to get everything I could. Anyway, I know all about it. I'm going to file a claim for alimony against you and your partner. Moreover, if you are going to ask for a favor, you should have a way of asking for it. Well, I guess you are the type of person who can't do that. I don't want to be with someone like that. It's a waste of my time. Why did I hang on to this guy? If I could go back in time, I would like to slap myself for letting you deceive me like that.
What the hell, Kara? Who do you think you are?
It's all your father's fault for being a middle school graduate.
Don't talk to me like that. I'll sue you for libel. Don't underestimate me. Prepare yourself.
With that, he hung up. That night, my ex-husband visited my parents' house. My ex-husband started cursing my father and me and making a scene. My mother called the police and submitted the recording I had made. When my ex-husband called me earlier that day, my mother told me to record it. That was immediately reported to my ex-husband's company, and he was dismissed from his job. When I asked for alimony at that time, my ex-husband came to my parents' house again and went on a rampage. He was taken to the police again for vandalism and was finally charged. He won't be able to get out for a while. After a while, I bought an apartment with the money that had been paid to me. My parents took the opportunity to sell the house and move into a nice apartment as well. Retirement benefits are just a system. Not a few companies don't offer it. My mother, not knowing what the future would bring, started building assets early on. When she came to realize it, it was a considerable amount of assets. I think it's foolish to assume that people don't have money just because of their educational backgrounds. Even if your father retires, it won't matter at all. We have plenty of savings, my mother said with a big smile on her face. Not only my father, but also my mother is great. What wonderful parents I was blessed with. It is fact that my marriage was a failure. But if you ask me if it was all misfortune, it wasn't. I learned a life lesson. I can't even think about marriage right now. But if I meet a wonderful person someday, I hope to make a wonderful couple like my father and mother.